Hey folks, welcome to Aeternum Academy. It's VannKraken. We are going to be hanging out this morning, just working on some trade skill stuff. On one extreme, we have the really high-end PvE in this game, which is level 10 mutations, which can get pretty intense. And on the other side of that, we have PvP, which can be wars, and open world PvP, which can get extremely sweaty. But I like to play the full range of activities in this game. I spend a lot of my time, especially in the mornings before I go to work or while I'm just having my coffee, just working on trade skills. My original character is a skills grandmaster title, which basically means it's maxed out in all the gathering, refining, and crafting categories. So had quite a bit of experience in gathering, crafting, and I think it's a really cool part of New World and lets you enjoy some of the really neat aspects of this game, like seeing the different territories, engaging in the environment, which is a stellar environment from the perspective of the sound design and the visuals in my perspective. And we take some morning time like this. There's a lot of questions I'm seeing in general chat, especially on these new Fresh Start servers. We're on Yonas in US West, about how to level trade skills, which one should I focus on first, what ultimate crafting professions might you want to pursue. So that's what we're going to cover when we do these morning sessions. We're not going to worry about power leveling or the most efficient leveling. We're just going to really chill out and work on our trade skills. And at this point, with a new character who's only level 27, we pop open our trade skills menu. This is divided basically into crafting across the top. And kind of like a pyramid, that's the pinnacle. That's the place where we're going to make all of our finished goods that we'll either consume and use as our character plays the game, or potentially provide to company mates. If we're in a company that has a intense PvE or PvP focus, we might make gear and materials that can be used in wars and high-level mutation runs, gearing up fellow friends as they join the game and the company. Refining is the middle stage of the pyramid, which is basically taking raw materials and getting them into a state in which they can be funneled into mid-tier and higher level crafts. And then the bottom is gathering, which is being out in the open world. What we're going to do today, working specifically on logging. So check this out. If you click on any of these boxes, they will hide or highlight when you mouse over them. Click on any of the boxes, you're going to see where you can unlock things and the levels required. And unlocking with regard to gathering is just whether you can actually hit that rock or chop that tree. So at level 0, you can hit young trees and cacti. This is exciting that they added cacti because that's part of the new Brimstone Sands territory that got launched along with these Fresh Start servers. Mature trees, we just actually unlocked on this account at level 50 in the last day or so. We'll talk about the difference between young trees and mature trees as we're doing some logging. And then these beautiful blue trees, weird wood, are kind of the mid-level raw material for woodworking. And then ultimately you have ironwood, which is a little bit sneaky because it's harder to see in the environment by far than weirdwood. Weirdwood is extremely easy to spot. Ironwood kind of blends in. I'm colorblind. I don't use colorblind settings in game, but it can be a little tricky to detect weirdwood. So we'll use our compass. We'll also use a resource map that we'll talk about as well to locate resources dynamically as we're moving around Aeternum. So in any of these kind of pyramids of skills, we can look at logging, then we can look at woodworking, which is going to be the refining. Basically, it's not a profession, it's just a mid-tier step ultimately to the professions at the top of the food chain, but shows you basically at different levels what kind of materials you can refine. And we want to get all the way from timber, which is made from just basic green wood, and combining that all the way up to glittering ebony. That is the top tier material that right now is going into not only shields and some of the things you'll use in high level character play, but the greatsword takes glittering ebony if you're going to craft higher level greatswords. So it's in more demand than it used to be. The woodworking trade was a little bit less important than mining and smelting, which we'll talk about in another session. So each of these raw materials basically is going to feed different professions. All right, so we're in town, we're in Everfall, but to log, I actually prefer a specific zone. So if I'm just gonna do some chill logging, there's a couple areas, Windsward and Monarch's Bluffs, the starting areas have tons of trees. You can go to other areas, you can go to high level areas, especially if you're looking for more stands of weirdwood or ironwood. You won't find as many of those in the starter areas, but sometimes they're a little less picked over because you've got lower level characters there that don't have their skills high enough to unlock some of these higher tier things to gather. But we're going to go back to Monarch's Bluffs, our starting zone, to do some logging today. Has a high density of trees, has a high density of rocks. You can work on logging and mining together in Monarch's Bluffs. It's got a good combination. Hey Tiff Loves, how's it going? I am very good. How about yourself this morning? Weirdest chillin'. I'm a almost year New World player, so working on basically just helping people with tips and tricks for leveling their character. There's tons of people out there doing hardcore, sweaty PvP every day. I like to engage in both aspects of the game. I spend a lot of time on not just the social part of the game. I'm in a couple companies. I'm actually in transition right now that the game is booming and coming back with crazy numbers. I'm kind of in between following some people with a new character I built over to East that I'm leveling up. That's kind of in level 50-ish territory right now. Then I have my main on a server where a lot of my friends left from that server to go to another server that was less crowded. So I've potentially got to buy a token to move that character. And that's a level 60 skills grandmaster character where I have all my trades maxed out. And then this character is brand new, which we're really just going to use on stream on the Fresh Start servers. So how about you? Have you been playing New World for a while or just starting out? All right, so we get to a place where we're going to engage in any kind of gathering activity. If we look down at our lower right part of our UI, we're going to have our bags. And at a low tier character level, we have a huge limitation in that we can't carry a whole lot of stuff. So we only have one bag enabled right now. So we're going to have to empty everything out of our inventory possible into a shed. So anything that I don't need to carry, I'm just going to dump into this shed. Later on, we're going to talk about how you can use all the different sheds you've gotten access to separate your materials, your armor sets, weapon sets, crafting gear, all that into different sheds in different cities to maximize your carrying capacity of your stuff. But we're not quite there yet. We're early stage, so we haven't filled up even half of any of our storages. So right now we've just been kind of dumping stuff. But the key is to make as much room, usually a quarter full or less, so we can go out and pick as much stuff up, head back to town. The thing I like about Monarchs with regard to logging is that it's really close to the stands of trees. It's basically running right out the door and you're already logging. So it makes for efficient trips to and from town. All right. Young trees are going to be what you have unlocked if you're less than level 50 in your logging skill. So you can just go and start hacking those at will. But the next level is mature trees, and those aren't going to unlock like we just showed in our skill progression, which again, just open your character screen, look at trade skills, click on logging. It's going to show you when things unlock. Mature trees are not going to unlock until level 50. So your first task in logging is bang as many trees as you can. Maybe I shouldn't have said it that way. Hit as many trees as you can with your axe. People get the wrong idea. And get your logging skills up as quickly as you can. At early levels, things progress pretty fast. And I'm happy to say, going back a year ago, the trade skills were a lot harder to level than they are now. They've made a ton of what they call friction changes at Amazon Gaming Studios to make the game easier to play. And one of those was taking it a little easier on the crafters by reducing the amount of experience required to level up both the gathering side, the refining side, and ultimately the higher level crafts into finished goods. This is my therapy, man. I just started streaming on a different game, which I'll probably do some streaming on going forward. I played some combat games called World of Warships and World of Tanks for a long period of time, probably an 8-9 year period, really dedicated to just those games. And then playing some stuff on the side like Skyrim and FIFA on Xbox. So one of the streamers I watch on World of Warships got a little fed up with playing World of Warships, started variety streaming, and he played New World at launch. I'm like, wow, that looks like Skyrim, but a hell of a lot more fun. So I had upgraded my PC to a decent video card at that point, and thought I'd give New World a try, and got immediately hooked. I'm very task and goal oriented, and I think New World imitates life. The more work you put into this game, the more you get out of it. And there's so many aspects of the game that you can explore. The crafting and gathering side being probably, well, I don't want to say the biggest time sink, because now you can do the PvE reward track. So in the beginning there was no PvP reward track. There was no specific kind of set of activities in PvP other than just doing open world PvP or doing wars. And now with a PvP reward track, you can spend a lot more time doing PvP activities. But originally, PvE is what kind of sucked me in with regard to, I'm just going to spend a bunch of time getting my skills up and becoming self-reliant. It's kind of the first thing I'd say on like why be a crafter, right? Why craft in this game? Well, you don't have to be a crafter specifically. You can be whatever you want to be in the game, pursue different activities. But if you do pursue the crafting side of the game, especially in a few of the elements you enjoy, you just become self-sufficient. You're not reliant on what the cost of materials or finished products are in the market. You don't have to beg your friends for stuff. It's funny, I was watching Shroud stream yesterday, who hasn't streamed New World for a long time, probably going back towards launch. And it's a whole separate discussion that we've touched on a little bit in our streams about why New World struggled and lost a lot of player population from 1 million players not playing concurrently, but hundreds of thousands of players playing concurrently, down to when I was playing 4 or 5 months ago, concurrent of like between 15 and 20,000. So the haters of New World love to say how much this game has struggled and love to kind of dunk on Amazon. And in my real life, personal life, I compete against Amazon every day, so I don't mind seeing them struggle a little bit. But what I do admire about the New World gaming division, AGS, is that the devs have really listened and worked hard to fix the issues that were in the game initially, which were stability-related bugs, cheats, lag, desync. A lot of that has been worked on and really, really improved. And then the other part was friction, as they call it, which was just things that made it hard to play the game, like super expensive Azov costs to travel and a really long time to level up your skills, and having to craft dungeon keys to get into the expeditions. It was a lot more onerous back in the day, so they've made life way, way easier. There's people in these Fresh Start servers who were level 60 like a day later. So you know life this game for 24 hours, pull an all-nighter, and you can basically be level 60. And that's without even a double XP event going on, which they have done with more frequency. They won't necessarily double XP everything. It'll be either character XP or trade skills, weapon skills, but you will definitely catch double XP events. But anyway, I just am attracted to the aspect of being self-reliant in the game. And Shroud was just asking his community, hey, who's going to make me a set of level 30 all-dex armor and these weapons that I like? He's obviously an absolutely killer musket player, given his first-person shooter background. And rumor has it that it was a Call of Duty guy that they got to come over and design the musket hit scan play in this game. So someone like Shroud just slides right into that with incredible aptitude. But while he's relying on his 12 million followers to gin him up some materials, and that's what he said, I hit level whatever in crafting last time I played because people just funneled me all this raw materials and he just stood there and crafted for hours until he was level 200. I prefer to do that on my own, have a sense of achievement. And we just hit level 28, so if we're looking at our bottom bar where XP is filling up across the bottom of the screen, we get XP for everything we do in this game. So refining, gathering, crafting finished goods, it all is going to contribute to our character XP. So we don't have to kind of quit leveling to go work on this stuff. It is chill, it is a different mindset than running around questing and doing combat. But it's still going to give you character progression. And we can show, after we fill up our bags and head back out, we can up the ante in how chill this is by deciding whether we craft flagged or not. And that just means whether we leave town and basically participate in open world PvP while we're gathering. Someone left a wolf. I'm gonna take it. And what that does when you leave a settlement and you're flagged up and your PvP flag turns on, the little cross swords in red under your nameplate, you get a little bit better luck when you harvest. That's actually something we should check. If we're going out for a full-on session of gathering, there's different gear that you can switch between to do that. So right now we have a harvester shirt, miner's gloves, and gathering gloves. So I actually do not have any logging gear, but there's logging shirts, pants, hats, full logging set. And if you wear that full logging set, what you see at the bottom there is reinforced harvesting luck. I kind of believe that logging is one of the less desirable trades to basically level up with luck, because there's only a few items like ironwood sap that you can harvest from ironwood trees from the luck table that are worth a lot of gold on the trading post. It's not the most lucrative gathering skill from a luck perspective. Better would probably be mining. It's probably be the top of the food chain. You get gems when you mine, so anything from iron on up, typically not out of raw stone, but iron on up through the more sorry, swallowed wrong. Iron up through the more valuable metals, you actually can pull better quality gems. Coffee down the wrong hatch. All right, our bags are almost full. Okay, so that didn't take us very long. We basically filled up completely, almost to 300 pounds. Oh, come on, wolf. So that's how quickly you can fill 300 pounds worth of bags, less 1/4 of our weight that was already in the bags, just in the gear that we're carrying. I could probably throw any spare weapons I want into my locker too, and pick those back up later, which we'll probably do. And then we'll add in one other layer on this to show how we can boost something else while we're doing our logging. It's kind of space, no buffs, no gear. Actually, before we go to the shed, let's figure out what we're going to do with that wood. So we could go straight to the trading post and list green and aged wood right now, and we could sell that for a decent amount of coin. There's always people crafting. There's always going to be people looking for these inputs on the trading post. So this level of wood has two key uses. You can refine it up into higher tier wood, which can be used in crafts, or you can turn either of these base woods into charcoal. And charcoal is something that when you start smelting and doing any of the crafting that requires refined metals, you are going to go through tons and tons of charcoal. So 2 different ways to use this base level wood. They're both saleable. Again, I could sell the raw wood, or I could sell refined wood. And our first step in that is going to be timber. So timber just takes green wood. There's no refining mats required. Boom, there goes our woodworking skill level, up 3 levels just from refining that green wood into timber. And then the next step is going to be converting that timber into lumber. So now we need to use an input, a craft mat. So there used to be 3 tiers of crafting mats, and you would get the different tiers based on different cities you were visiting or different territories. So you had to go to higher level territories, basically level 60 territories pretty much, to get obsidian sandpaper, and it would give you the best yield. And then there was 2 lower grades of sandpaper below that gave you a lot crappier refining yields, and you could get the lowest level running around here in a starting zone. A little while back, again, one of the things to make things easier, they basically took the 3 levels of crafting mats out and converted them all into one. So we can just basically use this sandpaper, and we're gonna be able to craft 84 lumber out of this green wood that was converted into timber, and that timber will get combined with some aged wood. And boom, because that's a next level refining step over timber, we get a bunch more woodworking XP, and already level 66. I mean, it's pretty crazy how fast you can level the refining now versus what it was before. So again, we added sandpaper as a necessary input. We used timber, and we used our aged wood. We still have some timber left, and we've got aged wood basically drawn down to 0 here. We don't have enough aged wood to go into this craft. Each lumber is going to take 4 aged wood and 2 pieces of timber, and then 1 piece of sandpaper. So this is what we've run out of first. It goes red and shows you we don't have enough resources here on the right side to continue that craft. So we could go sell what's left of our timber. We could go sell some lumber. Let's think about doing some of that later. Let's just dump this in our shed along with that wolf pelt that we harvested. And I'm gonna, just for right now, I'm gonna dump all the weapons that I don't have armed into my shed, because that's a significant amount of weight to carry around. Okay. So I said you could wear gear, basically different gathering gear, and there's refining gear, and there's crafting gear too, to give you higher score and levels in each of the steps of crafting in New World. So you're gonna have tons and tons of gear sets, and a big complaint has been that there's no easy way to swap gear sets on and off, and that's something that AGS is working on. They are going to give you the ability to basically hot swap sets in and out, which should have been happening a long time ago, but they've had a lot of bugs to work out in the base game. Besides the actual things you can wear to influence your gathering and crafting, you can use attribute food or trade skill food. So attribute food is going to increase your dex, your con, your health, or constitution. We don't seem to have any trade skill food on us right now. Let's see if we got any of that when we went over to Everfall, which is the only other town that I think we've stored anything in. Can't remember if we got that on a quest or not. Doesn't look like it. So let's throw a bunch of cooking ingredients into our inventory and see if we can unlock any of the lowest level crafting and gathering food recipes. And if not, we'll just go ahead and buy a couple meals off the trading post. We're really low level cooking skills. Cooking is the thing that I usually get to last, and we are seriously lagging. So Like any of the trade skill stations, basically anything that's bold is something that we can make. It means we have the skill level, the ingredients, and the station is a high enough level to make this item. So down here, resources, basically the tier of that station, and then what cooking level you have to have. So if we scroll down here to trade skill foods, there's going to be one for mining. At this low level, there's different levels that give you better luck, which is mainly what the food influences. It's luck, it's not yield. There's cooked corn for harvesting, roasted carrots for skinning, and roasted cabbage for logging. So we don't have cooking oil, which we'd get from nuts, or dill, which is a herb that will harvest along when you harvest hyssop, the main input into making arcana potions. So we're gonna have to buy some roasted cabbage right now just to get started to influence our logging. I don't have enough cooking skill and ingredients and stuff on hand. So let's go here. Herb roasted cabbage. Let's do level 1. I think level 1 might be all we could use. Oh, no way. Okay. It's not worth spending this level of coin. This is the beauty of being on a new server, guys. You can level up your skills and make stuff and sell it for an insane markup. All right. You can see that the difference in these. We've got roasted cabbages boost your luck by 1,000 points. Boiled cabbage by 1,400 points. Herb roasted cabbage by 1,700 points. Luck will be a discussion for another day, but essentially, luck doesn't change the chance of getting something unique. It changes the chance that when you get a unique drop through RNG, you get something better than what you just get if you didn't have any luck employed. So it basically boosts you up the luck table, so to speak. Okay, you go back in the shed. I think along one of our quest lines, we actually get some trade skill food to start out. And there are spots, farms in the tier 1 starting areas basically have cabbage. So we'll have to be on the lookout for that when we're going out on our next farming run. Doing side quests that take us to the various farms that have been taken over by the Lost. So that's where you want to grab the things that's growing there. Corn, cabbage, squash, all that good stuff. Okay, we're not going to come out flagged yet, but we are going to use our music trade skills that we unlocked last night. So if we hit F5, it's going to put us into the music menu, and we are going to select a song. And basically you want to start from the top to the bottom. So top's our music rank. Next thing, we want to choose a difficulty level, and then we want to pick an actual song. So if you want to do things quick and dirty, just get done fast, you can just set something to novice, and then you can try to find a song that's as short as possible. We don't have that many songs unlocked. I have 200 music skill on my original account, so it's kind of cool there because I have most of the songs unlocked and most of the music parts unlocked. I either bought them or found them in the world. Hey, how's it going? Oh, not a problem to interrupt at all. Kurt, Evik, I'm always terrible with names in chat. So I'll call you Kurt, which makes it easy. So yeah, definitely ask a question. That's what I'm here for. Just chilling, Q&A this morning. Any questions you have on crafting, on the lore, gathering, that's exactly what we're doing this morning. So let's find the shortest song possible. Okay, how ore are you today? This is a mining song. You get it when you mine ore. And I have the guitar part unlocked. Below this basically shows you there's 4 parts for this song. There's 1 page of music to unlock each of these instruments. Some will take up to 3 sheets just to be able to play that one part. And novice is going to be simple, easier to play, fewer notes in kind of the Guitar Hero style that the music module works. And we could take two things here. We could take Decidedly Dexterous, which allows us to gather quicker, or we can take Territorial Triumph, which will basically boost our territory XP faster. Hey Kurt, at this point, I'm not really doing this by any stretch of the imagination for a living, so check back with me down the road. This is my hobby, so at some point I might invest in some, you know, different graphics for my pages. I'm moving from one game to another, probably doing a little bit more variety, so I don't know exactly where this is going to land. So creatively, I wouldn't probably pay for designs until I know exactly what I'm going to be playing and with what frequency. But thanks for asking, totally appreciate it, and thanks for stopping in. All right, we can take Territorial Triumph, we can take Decidedly Dexterous, and choose either one of these. Again, Decidedly Dexterous is going to increase our gathering speed, and Territorial Triumph is going to increase our our territory XP. So let's just go do Decidedly Dexterous, because we are trying to gather as much raw material as we can. Let's click out of that, hit E to start our performance. Basically just pound that key when it comes across, just like Guitar Hero. There's fewer notes and fewer combinations when you're playing on Novice. So if you want to get higher scores, just start on Novice. The difficulty level has nothing to do with basically what score you get. When you play the lowest level, I think the best you can get right now is Great, because there's a bit of a glitch. And the higher score you get, the basically better buff that you get. But this increases our base gathering speed by 75% for 60 minutes. If you were to play another song and get a different buff selected, it just replaces or resets the one that you're using. So that's all we're doing. If people are in the area and they want to tip you at the end of your performance, you'll receive a little bit of gold and they'll get the buff in exchange. So already kind of a marked difference. As you boost your level and you increase the tier of your gathering tools, your chopping will go a lot faster. And then each of the trade skills has kind of a buff that you can get based on your attributes. If we open this up, when you have enough points to basically put 300 points into strength, you'll get a bonus to logging speed. Or actually, maybe it's lower. Let's see. Pretty sure it was on the strength line. Oh, sorry. Strength is mining. It's mining I'm thinking about. You get a buff to mining speed if you have your strength at a high enough level. And you do get a buff to skinning if you have higher dexterity. So pay attention to your attributes. If you do the fishing as a trade skill, from a gathering perspective, if you load up focus, you get a buff to bigger chance of catching rare and legendary fish by putting points into focus. You just kind of hit the combination of trees around you once you've achieved level 50 to unlock mature trees. You're going to get a combination of green wood and aged wood. So then you can come back and do that first refining step. Again, if you just want quick gold, if that's what you're after, throw the green wood on the market, throw the aged wood on the market. They will sell as long as you price them at a decent level. And we can show you how to do that. How to set basically sell orders, as they're called, versus just selling at whatever the current buy orders are on the market. You can make more coin by setting your sell orders, so you can set them at a level where they're a little cheaper than what everyone else is selling at, so they sell quickly. And things like raw materials tend to turn over pretty fast. I'd rather set a little bit lower of a price and sell on volume than set a high price and have your stuff just sit on the TP and not sell. Not a ton of bots out yet. You'll start to see harvesting bots on a pretty frequent basis as a server ages. They typically have nonsense, all lowercase names. They don't usually upgrade their armor, and they go in a very predictable pattern. They'll stop at each node where a tree is or a rock is, even if it's already farmed out. So you can tell they're kind of on a pre-programmed route. But they've gotten a lot smarter. And the bot farmers have basically put them into companies now, given them company titles. Some of the bots are governors of companies. So you have to keep up with the people exploiting. If you're at AGS, there is a report function. We'll show how to do that if we run across anybody that looks like a bot. Bots aren't all bad. If you see a bunch of bots, you know the game is somewhat healthy, right? Because good gold farmers wouldn't be bothering on a game that's not doing any good in the market. And the bots do at least put raw materials into the market when other people are not farming. Again, there's going to be times when you're crafting where you're going to have plenty of time and you want to go gather all of your own raw materials and then do your crafts. And you're basically net positive from a gold perspective and an experience perspective. You're either selling for money or just making good experience on your character by crafting. In the other case, especially when you get close to the end, like you're close to 200 in a trade skill, sometimes you just want to get finished, and you may have made some gold through your trade earlier on, and I'm willing at that point to just spend some gold to buy some raw materials. Especially things like charcoal when you're smelting. It's like, oh God, I've got to run outside and harvest a bunch of trees right now. I just want to refine this metal. So you might just run over to the trading post and buy some green wood to turn into charcoal. Already filled up half of our weight. Whoops. Already someone chopping that one. See, he's got the one-handed axe. We have a two-handed axe. One of the best things you can do is make sure that you're upgrading your gathering tools as you're increasing your character's level. There's 4 grades of tools. There's flint, there's iron, there's star metal, or there's, well, actually 5, I think. There's flint, steel, star metal, I guess, and orichalcum. So if you don't upgrade your tools as you're increasing your character level, you're missing out on really increasing your gathering speed, and you're missing out on perks that will come on higher level gathering tools. And that guy's only level 11, so he has a flint axe, which is one hand, which takes you a long time to chop through a tree. Especially when you get into the higher quality trees like weirdwood and ironwood, those will take you forever to chop down with a lower tier gathering tool. So the break points I think are around level 9, level 10. You can switch from what he was using, from a flint tool to an iron tool. And then around level 18, 19, you can switch from iron to steel. And that's what I've done here. And basically those flint tools have no perks on them. They just have a buff of about, I think, 100+% to gathering speed. Now, if you look at our steel tools, we're already in the 350% gathering speed range. And we're getting 1 to 2 perks on each of these tools. I think in uncommon, uncommon's the best you can get in steel, I think. As you go to star metal, you can actually unlock rare tools that have a 3rd perk. Definitely you can on the orichalcum level, the level 60 tools. And in brimstone sands, there's now legendary level tools that have, I think, a 4th perk. So Anyway, this one, just for instance, let's see what we're chopping with. We get 2 perks in addition to the 360% gathering speed. We have Azoth extraction, which means 38% of the time whenever we chop a tree, we're going to get 1 Azoth. May not sound like a lot, but as you're gathering tons and tons of materials through Aeternum, that's going to keep refilling your Azoth bank down here. We're maxed out at 1,000 right now. Travel used to be insanely expensive, so it's not as big of a deal now. Used to be 700 Azoth to travel a long distance with a lot of stuff in your bags. Now it's essentially free, so it's not as big of a worry, but you will still use Azoth when you're crafting and in certain other situations. I think the new mounts will probably run on Azoth. That's my guess. The other skill we have here is gathering recovery. So if we were attacked by someone, we would actually recover HP while we're gathering. Not a hugely beneficial skill, but it was what it was available on the TP for a reasonable price. Other things are like discipline perks, which increase your experience faster, which is fantastic, or speed, efficiency. And then luck. We have skinning luck built right into our steel skinning knife. So pretty cool. But unfortunately, we only have 1 bag, so we don't unlock our next bag slot until level 30. We're getting close. And then at level 45, you unlock a 3rd bag slot. These are level 2 bags. They go all the way to level 5. So you can carry a lot more stuff as your character levels up. You will spend a lot of money on high tier bags. So again, why not craft your own, right? I just have wound up buying very little of the stuff that I use on my main, other than weapons and armor for specific situations. But I was just able to create basically 4 different PvE ward sets, which are sets of armor that have resistance to a specific enemy type, all by getting these patterns from the Summer Medley Fair event, and then basically building all my own armoring sets from raw materials that I had gathered. It saved me, I would guess, a couple 100,000 coin, or maybe 100,000 coin, to build out 4 complete armor sets with the ward perks that I wanted on them. Got some softwood tree sap. Every once in a while, you're going to see a second little icon pop up next to the actual wood amount that you've gathered. And that's what are influenced by luck. Softwood tree sap is a attribute perk crafting mod that puts a specific type of attribute onto a craft. You can put some of these are going to put an attribute onto a crafting, or sorry, a gathering tool. Others are going to put a craft onto a weapon, or an attribute onto a weapon craft or an armor craft. And the tooltips are way, way better in labeling that. So any of these special things we pick up are going to go down here. So softwood tree sap, using crafting to apply a bonus of focus and dex to an item. So we can basically use that when we're crafting weapons and armor. Get the attributes that we want. One of the biggest knocks on crafting is that people think it's all RNG based, and people do complain that spend a boatload of money to go buy all their own raw materials, and buying high level materials like glittering ebony is the top tier wood, asmodium is the top tier metal, runic leather, phoenix weave. Those are kind of the top of the line materials that you craft from these basic materials into highly refined materials. You go buy all those things off the market to put into your own crafts, super expensive. But if you go gather the raw materials yourself, spend a little time each day, or while you're doing your other activities, stop and do some gathering, you'll be able to save an absolute ton of gold. And while you're leveling, you won't have to actually spend money to level your trades. You'll be able to break even, or in some cases even come out making money while you're leveling your trades. So when you hear people in general chat complaining in global My God, it's so expensive to armor, to get the tuned armor. That's only if you're basically buying all the raw materials. Again, we're kind of at the beginning stages, so getting to at least 100 in logging and mining as quickly as you can, and then in harvesting will unlock all the really good middle tier things that you need from a gathering perspective to start making higher level refined materials. You could stop there. You could just sell Phoenix Weave, Runic Leather, Asmodium, and make a literal crap ton of money in the market just doing that. Or you can save those materials for your own crafts to level up your different trade skills. Okay, our bag's almost full again. Generally, we want about 3/4 green wood to 1/4 aged wood if we're paying attention to the ratios to go make lumber. But right now, I'm just kind of chopping, not worrying about it too much. All right. So there is a music buff that you unlock at a higher tier called Song in Your Step. We don't have it right now, obviously. Song in Your Step, if you look here, unlocks at 75 music skill. I could play that song right now and walk back, actually run back to town, because it allows you to carry excess capacity over and above what your bag capacity is. But to drop a little bit of weight, I'm just going to basically discard a little bit of the wood that I've chopped. Instead of discarding the whole thing, that'll be your whole pile gets dropped. We're just going to say split. And if we watch up here at our weight, it's always going to try to split in half. We don't need to drop very much. We need to drop just enough to turn this from red to white. So we also can just click in here and enter a number. So let's not drop more than we need to. Okay, we need to drop about 12 wood to get back under our 300 weight, and now we can run back. You got all the time in the world. You don't have to go to work later like I do. Then just do the slow walk. It's always fun seeing people you know who are working on their crafting, doing the slow walk back to town, or the slow walk from one station to another, from a station to the trading post. Here we go. We're going to go the TP first this time and list a little bit of this raw material on the trading post. Show you how we do that. Stations are still pretty small. These will get more elaborate as the server gets leveled up through the town board quests. Actually, that's another thing. Let's go look at that really quick. If we want to level our territory standing quickly, we go to the town boards to do that these days. It's our best source of territory experience. Besides that little buff we can do on music. Oftentimes we'll have different projects pop up here that are trade related. Sometimes it'll be deliver stone blocks, or lumber, or green wood, or aged or wood or timber. Right now there's none available. If there were, instead of selling stuff on the trading post or refining it and putting it back in my inventory in a locker, I could basically turn it in here. But people are active on the town boards right now. Those refresh like every 5 minutes, I think. But no joy on doing any wood town board right now. But what we can do is look now about selling. So we leave the buy tab and go to the sell tab. When you don't have a lot of stuff in your inventory globally or at this location, so this just pulls from your local inventory, not from everything in your bank. The inventory system in New World used to be completely split in the beginning. It was separate trading posts and separate lockers in every city, and you couldn't access anything without paying a fee to move stuff, and you could only move stuff between territories owned by your faction. Now you can move things freely from any storage that you visited to your character to another storage. So it's really like a hub and spoke. You're the hub, your inventory, and then the different lockers are spokes on the wheel. Today, the trading post is also joined and united in even a more cohesive way, that just anything listed on the market here is available to buy anywhere in Aeternum. But it wasn't that way in the beginning. You could only buy things in the territory that were listed in that territory. So that was a good change. So let's look at, say, timber. We've refined some timber. We could sell one timber for 0.23 gold right now just by clicking this, filling the order, and hitting sell now for 38 gold. But we can make more by actually placing a sell order if there's a spread between the sell order price and what people are buying for right now. So right now, people are willing to sell the cheapest at 61 cents. You can buy it instantly for 23 cents. So what's this means to me is I could sell some green wood for about 59 cents, and people will still have a good chance of buying that at 59 cents versus instantly selling their stuff at 23 cents. So what we're looking for is a spread between the buy price and the sell price, if that makes sense. So again, we're going to go back, go sell. And we're just going to look for spreads. So that was on timber. Let's look at green wood. This will be all of our items. Green wood, we have 851. So we could sell each piece of green wood for 1/10 piece of gold. In this case, we could make up to 83 pieces of gold just for that little bit of work we just did. Didn't take us long. Or we can place a sell order. And this is probably a bot that listed this for 3 cents. Not much of a spread here. We'd probably have to sell greenwood in a sell order at 11 cents. So if we were to sell greenwood, we'd probably just go ahead and fill it now, not have to wait and see if our sell order actually gets filled by someone. We'll just go ahead and sell some of that. I don't like that it doesn't stay where you were. For greenwood, we're just gonna, sell some instantly. It did stay. It does stay now. So let's sell 300 of it. We're gonna get 30 gold just by selling now. Again, there's not much of a difference between the sell orders and the buy orders right now, so you might as well sell for what it's listed at with a current buy order, so you can just go ahead and fill that and get it out of your inventory and make some gold. So that gave us 30 coin. But with timber, taking one refining step, we see a much bigger spread. So people are willing to buy right now for 25 cents, or I could place a sell order for around 59 cents and sell it for twice as much. So I'm going to say I'll sell at 59, and let's put 100 of these out there. Raw materials should turn pretty quickly. The fewer days I list for, the less of a listing fee I pay. It always defaults to 2 weeks. Don't fall for that. Go ahead and set this to 1 day, or at maximum for raw materials, like 3 days. You'll pay a lot less of a listing fee and make more gold. So less taxes, essentially. So we'll sell 100 at 59, place that order. And now we hope someone comes along and wants to buy at 59 cents. Versus us just selling it instantly at only 21 cents. We can make almost 3 times as much by being a little patient and seeing if this fills. Basically, it's people crafting who want to buy raw materials and not go out and harvest them themselves. Hey, boats. I'm on earlier. Playing hooky before work. We do not have to pay a fee to move things between storage sheds. That is true. That is true. We used to have to do that. So it used to be your faction had to own both ends of the transfer. So if we look at the map, like, and we filter for faction. So just be aware when you go into the map, you have to go into filters and click faction influence to see who owns what. And I'm a purple, so I'd be out of luck being able to transfer goods from anywhere to this territory because it's not a purple territory. But if I had a shed and ebb and scale in the old days and I want to transfer from Reekwater, I could do that. And I could do it at a specific fee. Now you can move anything anywhere and there's no transaction fee for moving it. The rub is that you have to have visited that territory to be able to have access to its shed. So literally right now what I'm doing is questing, harvesting, gathering, crafting, and I'm just dumping it all in the local locker. But ultimately what I'll show you guys is I have a whole system that in each of these specific lockers, I store a specific set of gear and crafting mats. And that depends on where I have my houses, because houses increase your storage capacity. So I would want to buy a higher tier house that can hold more stuff through chests that you can buy or craft in the furnishing profession. And for instance, I'd want the best, biggest house that holds a ton of stuff to do my arcana and my smelting, my metal, because that's heavier stuff. So anyway, there's a whole organization system, and like you're saying, OCD, me too, of how I organize and store all of my stuff. And the good news was when Brimstone Sands came online, we got 3 more storages, which is pretty cool. You're playing at work. I can't get away with that, so I have to do that. But I work at home a lot now as well. I can actually do a good amount of just gathering stuff and work. So anywho, yeah, that's how the storage system works. It's hub and spoke. It'll show you where we can transfer to and from, and then I can view these only because I haven't visited yet. So let's go back. I'm always going to do the first level refining to timber, again, unless I want to use that green wood over in the smelter. So let's save a little. This guy's playing decidedly dexterous next to the crafting station, so you will tip him and you'll get to harvest faster if you don't have that skill unlocked or you haven't done the music trade yet. At least the base level music trade up to level 5. Make a little bit of lumber. Again, lumber's going to turn the experience wheel faster. All the way from 67 to 75. When you get from 100 to 200, it's going to slow down a lot, but it's really fast. 0 to 100 now. And then this will show you the next thing we can unlock here at level 100 is weird wood planks. But we have to have our logging at 100 to even harvest weird wood to combine with lumber to make into weird wood planks. So that's why we're out doing logging right now. Here's the tiny baby smelter. Iron ore is the first step of refining, so we don't need any input to do that. And once you're at a high enough level, you can, we can't even make silver yet. Or sorry, steel ingots. We have to be level 35 smelting, I guess. No, 50 to make steel ingots. And that's where we need charcoal. So I'm going to put some charcoal in the bank. We don't need to be anything but level 0. So I'm going to go ahead and make 94 charcoal, 2 green wood per 1 charcoal. And as you get higher in level, and if you're wearing crafting gear specifically for refining, if I were wearing smelting gear, this bonus will be boosted. There are some refining buffs based on gear that you're wearing when it comes to the refining skills. So we got 3 bonus, yay. And I'm just gonna build up some charcoal in my bank, so to speak, because I know, let's go ahead and do that too, that I'll be needing a ton of charcoal when I start refining iron into steel and steel into star metal ingots. Okay, So here's a kind of a little unique thing. Whenever you're in a given territory, it will use what's in your inventory, what you're carrying to perform a craft, and it'll pull anything from your local storage shed to go ahead and be available for crafting too, but not stuff that's in another area. So in this case, if I'm crafting in Monarch's Bluffs, it's only going to pull materials from my hands, my bag, a superhuman strength bag that I can carry, or it's going to pull from my inventory in this town only. It's not going to pull from Everfall. But because we're kind of making this our wood hub, what I could do is go over to Everfall and say, I want to take this wood, get it out of Everfall's inventory, and by chance, Monarch's Bluff is where I do pretty much all my logging and woodworking. Now that it's in my inventory, like hub and spoke, I've moved it from one spoke to the hub. Now I can move my wood into Monarch's Bluffs and have more wood available for crafting here. Now it's all going to be sitting here. And Everfall is where I typically do all of my cooking. So I'm going to take all my cooking raw ingredients and I'm going to move those over to Everfall. It'll be a lot of work here after we visit more territories to sort all this out, but that's the basic kind of hub and spoke movement of your goods from basically one city to your inventory to the place you're at, back and forth. Bag crafting boats is in the armoring station, I believe. Let's see. It's either an armoring or outfitting. It might be outfitting, but I have it. This is the engineering shop, which is the workshop. Outfitting in this town's on the other side. What's the smelters here? Or sorry, where is the forge? The forge is over there. Everything is so tiny, I don't even recognize it. I'm used to built up stations. Okay. Most of armoring is done in the forge, which is the majority of weapons, but there's always exceptions, right? Dex weapons are part of engineering, so Dex weapons are made over in the workshop we just looked at. In the armoring shop, you make most of your other melee weapons, and you make armor, and you make some other things like honing stones, which basically give you a damage buff in battle, either PvE or PvP, on both weapons when they're active. I'm pretty sure bags are not in this station. So again, this is weapons, armor, and then a few perk items that influence buffs on weapons and armor, repair kits, and honing stones. So we have to travel over to the other side real quick. Some towns have all the crafting stations. Oh, don't tell me. I hate when they do that. Some towns have all the crafting stations in one location. Windsward is super popular, makes a ton of gold for the company that owns it because it's really convenient to craft in because all the stations are in the same spot. This one has split stations. There's a little area over here. Okay, there's leather. This is where we would turn rawhide into coarse leather. Cooking station, or Arcana station, sorry, is there. Cooking is back towards the other side. This is the loom where we make fabric, and then this is the outfitting station. So outfitting is a combination of armoring and jewel crafting, essentially, are the two main things that you work on here. So armoring from some perspective with regard to fabric-based armor. Anything that requires like plate, heavy armor is going to be made over in the forge. But if it's leather or light armor out of cloth or, again, skin, it's going to be made in this station. And hey, we just sold something. You get that little indication, that clink. Just means we sold some of the wood that we listed. Sometimes you'll get a pop-up if you're not in a station. And the bags are right here, boats. So infused leather, adventure, satchel, that's a higher level bag. Let's see what the lowest level bag you can make is. Coarse leather adventure satchel. That's the level 2 bag. And you can make that at armor leveling 0, so you don't have to level up armoring to make it, but you'll have to have these raw inputs. So the way the inputs work is this bag has only a potential gear score of 200 to 205, but in the higher tier items, this gear score will be able to move further to the right. It'll have more carrying capacity and the ability to throw more perks on it. So in this case, we just need some leather, refined cloth, refined metal. We need what's called a minor rune of holding. You can buy those off the trading post or from the faction vendor. And then these, like I said, ironwood sap and the tree sap that we were collecting when we were chopping trees, it's a perk for crafting. So in this case, if you kill a wolf and you get an animal fang, it's basically going to add a special type of perk to that bag called Tanner's Burden, which allows you to carry more rawhide in this bag at a discounted weight. So there's bags you can make that carry more hemp or more hide or more stone, that sort of thing, based on what perk you add. And here's where we use some of the Azoth that we collect, the Azoth bottles that drop from mobs. Adding Azoth increases the chance of getting another perk on the bag. So yeah, boats, that's where you go to craft bags. And again, that's the lowest level bag. It'll give you a level requirement generally. You have to be level 7 to 8 to carry that bag. Let's look at a higher level bag. Now we see the gear score's gone from the lower level 200 to 205 to 380 to 400. There's 3 perks possible based on what we choose and how much Azoth we put into the craft. The more Azoth you put into the craft, the higher chance of these second and third perks dropping. And then the rune that we need to put in is a higher level rune, and it's generally going to require a higher level of raw materials. So we need layered leather, not just coarse leather, for this type of bag. So we could spend hours just going through all this stuff. But this is where nwdb.com or New World Fans websites, they have a lot of the crafting recipes listed. NWDB is a great one for that. Shoot, wasn't gonna go there. Let's go ahead and we dump most stuff in the locker. We're pretty good on weight. Whenever you craft anything and then refine it, it's going to be deposited in your character's inventory. So if you come into town, you've done logging, and you want to make a bunch of refined wood, you'd refine all that and then basically come back to the locker and dump it all out of your person and into your locker so you can carry more stuff. So now we've reduced our weight. I just want to get our weight down to as little as possible. And let's go do one more run. We still have 24 minutes on our buff to gathering speed. And we're gonna hope, since it's a starter area, that people are kind to us, and we are going to flag up. So down here is you. While flagged for PvP, you can attack and be attacked by other PvP flag players. Successful kills get you Azoth Salt and PvP XP. Those are used on the PvP reward track, which unlocks different potions, gear, and other stuff that are rewards for participating in open world and instanced PvP like arenas, outpost rush, or wars. You get a 10% XP bonus while flagged, and you also get a luck bonus. So it's actually two things. It's an increase to XP and to gathering luck. So we're just gonna hit the U key, PvP enabled. Now, as soon as we leave, the dreaded timer starts counting down. As soon as we're out of range of the cities are sanctuaries. Unless we're not a high enough level to go flagged yet. Oh, it let us flag. I think we are. I guess it'll just tell us. think we're flagged now. We are getting a little buff. So when we chop a tree, it says logging times 1.05. So that's our buff for being flagged. All this stuff used to be kind of a black box in the old days, and now it gives you more kind of a concrete overview on your UI so you know what your settings are at any moment. So we might want to keep a weapon drawn now, because any higher level character or character of our level could come along and fight with us. Okay, our PvP protection timer has started. Now we're far enough from the settlement to engage it. I guess that 1.05 is just we still have a buff enabled, I think, from kind of a rested XP bonus perspective. I don't flag a lot, you guys, so when I'm out chill gathering. But this is a way to take your gathering kind of to one more level. Doesn't have to be completely chill. You're going to have to be more on edge or just aware of your environment, more situationally aware. Grab some herbs while we're here. We got our harvesting over 50. It's 52. Pro tip is just plop down the middle of these guys and then just spin around. You don't have to run to each plant. Spin around. The E will light up, then move a little to highlight the next one. Okay, so on our nameplate now, we are going to be able to, we'll be alerting other players that we are flagged. When they look at our nameplate, it'll show double cross swords in red, so they'll know that they can attack us. Members of our own faction cannot attack us unless we agree to a duel. So you can use the H key when you're looking at someone to bring up a menu, and a duel challenge, just challenging someone to fight kind of in single PvP combat for fun. You don't lose all your weapons or anything. New World was going to be basically, if you died, you lost all your inventory. I know there's some hardcore combat and survival games that work that way. And there's a term for it, but I'm blanking. Like a hardcore mode, where if you got killed, you dropped all your stuff, and I guess it's full loot, right? Something like that. They could loot all your stuff from you after they killed you. Believe it or not, this was designed as a hardcore PvP game in alpha. So we should be getting more character XP on the bottom. A little bit higher luck. We already have the speed boost kicked in now from our music buff. So we are doing full speed logging right now. And we started at just over 50. And we're at 74, so not too shabby. So we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes with quite a bit of talking. So we were just chopping, and you've got all these other things down. We could have probably chopped twice as much now. Again, I really want to get to 100 logging, so whenever I run by the blue trees, the weirdwood trees, I do not have to pass them by. Selling each of these refined materials, every time you go up a level, it's a huge increase in value if you're just doing this to make gold. A weirdwood plank is going to sell for probably 10 times at least 20 times what lumber will, depending on market conditions. Softwood tree sap. Again, that is a special craft mod that's dropping because we've got a little bit of luck activated. It will drop occasionally without any luck buffs, but if you have food, any logging gear, or your PvP flagged, it's going to increase. There is petrified wood. So we're getting drops more often now because we're flagged. And I'm going to be just scanning. Just move your mouse around. Make sure there's no one stalking you, sneaking up on you. Problem with my brain is, like, right now, I'm just wired for harvesting. I'm not wired for combat, so I like to warm up before I go on an expedition, or I'm going to do a hardcore chest run or something. I'll do a little bit of just killing mobs in open world before I do that. But it's part of what makes open world PvP fun, is that you never know when you're going to engage someone. There's really not PvP scaling in the open world like some games have, so a level 60 is going to be able to one-shot me right now, pretty much. So don't go attacking higher level characters thinking that it's going to be a fair fight. They did just they did scale Outpost Rush, where they're going to soon. Set brand new level 60 players that can go play in the 30 versus 30 Outpost Rush mode. Actually, are scaled somewhat, so it scales everyone who just got to level 62 gear score 600, whereas generally you start at 500. But you can be as high as 625 when you reach max level and max what's called expertise. So you're still going to have a 25-point gap between you and the established level 60s. So they're going to have an advantage on you in Outpost Rush. It's just not going to be as severe as it used to be. A lot of people be super excited and rush to level 60 and go play OPR and get slaughtered and then be really, really upset. Got some petrified wood, resin shavings, and softwood tree sap all on one chop. Or a couple chops there. So we're definitely seeing a big improvement in craft mod drops since we flagged. And again, most of the time if you're here in a starter area, most cool level 60s are not going to attack you. But you know, I'm flagged, so typically if you're flagged, you're fair game. So I don't get salty if someone wants to get their PvP Azos salt for killing me. Just briefly, if we look at the, oh, we have a few things to upgrade here. We did go from level 27 to level 28. If you look on PvP, this is the reward track. So if you kill someone, you get Azos Salt. And you also get points, PvP points, which basically move you along this track. This is the first track. And you get 3 chances to purchase gear with your Azos Salt or the other goods in each track. And obviously, the higher and higher you get, you achieve different rankings in the track. And the quality of what you can unlock gets better and better. There's some pretty dang good PvP gear. It is mostly specifically PvP oriented gear with PvP positive perks on the PvP reward track. Okay, I've got 955 greenwood. Who dat? Oh, that's a low level. It's level 12. Sometimes you can get spooked by animals too. There are people who like to lie and wait. If you're crouched down, if you use the Z key, it makes your nameplate really hard to see. Or even when you're crouched with the C key. So there are certain people who will basically just hide in certain areas, waiting for people to come and do some gathering, and then they'll gank them. All part of the fun, I guess. And then there'll be a good hour and a half in a global chat back and forth over who has the biggest E-ping. Dying in PvP in open world, or just dying in general, it damages your armed gear, the gear you have in your hands, takes a little bit of damage, and then you either go back to the nearest camp that you've created. So you're going into an area to PvP or to PvE in a challenging situation, drop a camp, and then you can make that camp be your recall point. Oh, we're encumbered. It's hard to defend yourself when you're encumbered as well. Again, we go to tab, inventory. We're just going to drop a little bit of this green wood. We're going to split it, come all the way down, and then see how few we can drop to get under the cap. 16. I used to slide and slide and slide. I don't think originally the slider was as sensitive, or you couldn't type the number in. So I don't like dropping any more material than I need to. Okay, there's a buffer zone around the town, so we've entered Sanctuary. Our PvP flag is still on, but we can't be attacked in a Sanctuary area. Basically flag up inside any of the cities and on any of the spirit shrines. Go ahead and unflag just so we remember. Our status. My mistake is I'll flag and then I'll run out somewhere else flagged and forget. That's fun too, going, oh crap, I didn't look down and see my swords are crossed down below. All right, let's do French timber again. 79 woodworking. And we'll use all the sandpaper that we've got. Make some more lumber. So those crafting materials, not the actual raw materials, but the crafting mats, we really need to get from doing open world exploring. So when you're doing your quest, hit as many chests as you can. Even if you're in an area and it says loot 5 chests and that's the quest, if there's more than 10 chests in that area, or chests alongside the road or whatever, open as many of those chests as you can, because then you'll have more reagents or kind of crafting materials to use to refine your raw materials. So see if we dropped any sandpaper in Everfall. A little bit. We have 61. If we have to go buy this, it's a lot more expensive. Oh, we have cabbage here. All right, we have cabbage in Everfall. So when we boost our cooking a little bit, we'll be able to make some boiled cabbage and roasted cabbage to increase our logging luck. All right, let's go back to the TP one more time and see what happened with that sell order that we placed. If we go into my orders, we'll see a listing of everything we have on the market. Right now I have a couple music pieces up for sale, and we've sold 90 out of the 100 timber we listed. So again, we could have instantly sold that timber for 21 cents essentially, but instead we set the lowest sell order at 59 cents. So we sold it for almost 3 times what the instantaneous, instant gratification selling price would have been. So we made a lot more gold off that transaction. But there's going to be other people undercutting us as time goes on. So let's see where timber is listed now. The buy order is up to 25 cents. I think it was 21. And the sell order has dropped. We were 59. Someone has undercut us at 58. So that's why we're not selling anymore right at this moment, because we have 10 left, but there's someone selling for cheaper than we are. So if we want to sell a little bit more, we're going to have to undercut this guy. So I'm going to sell at 56, and I'm going to sell, let's just say 75. List that for 1 day. After 1 day, if I haven't sold the rest of this 10 block of 10 will return to my inventory. And then we can dump whatever excess we have into the locker. So we have a lot of storage space right now. So what I'll generally do is just go out and harvest a bunch of raw materials, keep building up my raw material balance. And then when this reaches the limit of the storage, then I'll come back and do a big crafting session because I'm out running an open world, harvesting stuff. I'm basically raiding chests and building up this reagent inventory. And then I can come back and do one big crafting session. Right now, all we're focused on for the most part is crafting kind of mid-tier raw materials. Let's do one more quick gathering session. We're gonna call it. See if we spend another 10 minutes here. Fill up our bags one more time. How high we can get to. Made really good progress. We've gone up almost 30 levels. If there's a bush next to a tree, you'll start harvesting the bush by accident. Bushes only give you like 1 or 2 green wood. Which is not an efficient way to harvest wood, but if you want to drop a camp somewhere and there's no trees, there's only bushes, you definitely want to just grab a few bushes to get, I think, the 5 wood, green wood required to build your camp. Our music buff has 6 minutes left on gathering speed. Let's actually get far enough away where our timer engages. There we go. Skewer skill on the spear is fantastic for hunting. Guy has an Expedition 1 tag. That means he bought the deluxe kit in the original project or product launch. So he was an original purchaser of the game. I think bought a deluxe level package when you purchased the game and you got that title. So that's all you can tell someone really quickly who's been around since the beginning. Some Expedition 1 people played for a while and got really pissed, like I said, about the issues with dupes and bugs, and I'm seeing a decent number of them have come back. Either in the summer with the Summer Medley Fair event, or just recently with the release of Brimstone Sands and the new revised leveling experience. Level 1 to 25 got completely revamped. So a couple other cool things about crafting. When you craft items yourself, they are not subject to any downgrading based on the expertise system when you hit level 60. So again, when you hit level 60, your weapons are going to have a score, and they already do have a gear score, even at low levels, typically between 500 and 625. So right now we can see our stuff is somewhere in the 250 to 350 range. Any item you craft stays at full strength. So if I crafted a 600 level spear, I'd be able to use that at full strength right when I turn level 60. But someone else who goes and buys a level 600 spear on the trading post, if their gear score in that slot is only 500, it'll get averaged between what that item's gear score is and what their expertise score is for that slot. So a 500 gear score spear player who just turned level 60, who buys a 600 level spear on the trading post, will have that spear downgraded to 550. So it's basically going to reduce the amount of damage it does, and it's going to take down the effectiveness of the weapon's perks to some degree. But if I just turned 60 and I've got engineering at 200, and I can go craft a 200 level spear at the engineering station, I know that's confusing, like, why would you make spears at the workshop? Why isn't it the armory? Well, the dex weapons are made in the workshop, not the armory, or not the forge, sorry. But that 600 level spear I make as a maxed level engineer will be usable at 600. It will not be downgraded. So that's a really cool reason to craft, is that what you craft, you get to use at full strength. If you were to sell or give that weapon to someone and they're not in an expertise level high enough to use it at its full speed, they get downgraded. Okay, our 75 timber just sold. Boom, 40 gold. We can make timber without any sandpaper. So what you kind of need to do is check the price between timber and green wood. It takes 4 timber to make 1 green, 4 green wood to make 1 timber. So if the price of 4 green wood to sell is more than what 1 timber would be, go ahead and sell 4 green wood. If 1 timber is more valuable to sell in the market than 4 green wood, then refine to timber. The other benefit of refining to timber is that I'm going to get some experience points on my refining for woodworking. So I personally very rarely go and list the green wood unless it's much later in the game when I've maxed stuff out. I want to refine my woodworking skill, boost it up. So I'm gonna craft everything at least, refine everything at least 1 level after I gather it. Our music buff is running out. Let's grab some hyssop. Forky Turk, get out of here, man. These are mine. See, I'm not moving every time I pick one up. Not a bot. Bots aren't normally running a rapier. So we have 560 going on 600 greenwood. You'll kind of see the skinniest trees are the ones that chop the fastest, but there's RNG on how much wood you get from each tree. So sometimes these little skinny trees chop really fast and are the way to go. Oop, I thought that was bug. Versus chopping bigger young trees that take like 8 or 9 chops to get through. Sometimes these little guys will give you just as much wood as the big, thick, young trees. So if I see these little skinny guys, I always go grab them first. Especially when I'm in a hurry and I don't need to collect a whole lot. Okay. Done a lot of green. Now let's look for a couple bigger trees. Get away, wolf. Our spear and greatsword is what we're sticking with from a leveling perspective for weapons. They're getting a little more powerful. Can now pretty much very close to one-shot the level 6 critters. Alright, we're 3/4 full. Got going on 250 green wood, or sorry, mature wood, aged wood. I cannot see these berry bushes good at all. My red and green differentiation is not very good. Chop, chop. if you only have 15 minutes or 30 minutes to play New World, this is one awesome thing about the breadth of activities in this game. You can just go basically harvest for 15 minutes, run back to town, call it good. So I have kids, I have a job and other activities. So if you've got a busy life, the crafting and gathering aspect of this game is pretty cool, because you really have to set aside potentially an hour to do a dungeon run, especially if you're running with people who are new to a dungeon and you're going to wipe somewhat. There's no time minimum or maximum on gathering and crafting. You can just do as much as you want or as little as you want. Ah, the bleed got him. Skewer, as you buff the skill up, throws a bleed on top of the damage, so kind of fun whenever the mob or the animal you skewer is wandering around and they keel over. Generally they'll have a little patch of red on them that you can see if you've applied a bleed, and there'll be a little icon above their nameplate, a little dripping icon. Alright, we don't have much left here to fill up. I map auto run to my mouse onto my wheel click. So kind of just auto run from one area to the next. E key. You've got an MMO mouse or just a mouse with a few buttons. I don't have a ton of buttons on mine, but it has weapon swap, it has auto run, it has the hotbar slots mapped to it, so you don't have to punch a bunch of keys when you're in combat. There might be a stand of bigger trees up here. Mostly young trees. We're definitely going to have more timber than we have to make lumber. You get more aged wood from the mature trees to make more lumber. That's alright. We'll just stock up a bunch of timber if we have to go later to do more specifically the bigger, older trees. We can focus on that. Okay. One last time. Let's do a split. Oh, we don't have to drop a lot. 2. No. Oh, yeah. 300 exactly. The starter zones in general are pretty good with regard to a variety of materials. They'll usually have stuff you can harvest, mine, log, and skin. When you get into the higher level territories, especially in specific regions of those territories, you'll find more or less of an emphasis on a certain gathering category. Do our first step of refining. We are buzzing right along on woodworking, keeping that in pace with our logging skill. And let's go ahead and just make some lumber. Just go for fun, since there's a locker up there, and see what lumber's going for. Let's compare some prices really quick, and then we'll call it good. That's the little kitchen. Kind of sad. Okay, so let's do our comparisons here. Look at our sell orders. That last timber order we placed, the whole thing sold at once. It's kind of cool. So let's just look at the green. Oh, we used all of our green wood. Well, aged wood per piece is usually similar to green wood. And wow. Oh, it's selling for about, these are bots that drop low prices in typically. so they can sell their goods quickly. But it's around 14 cents. That's probably about the same for greenwood, for one piece of greenwood. So what is timber selling for? I think we had it around 60 cents, right? It's a little less. So right now, if greenwood were at 15 cents per, it'd be a little better to sell 4 greenwood for 60 cents than 1 timber for 55 cents or so. But the benefit is, by taking that greenwood and making a bunch of timber, we got all that experience in woodworking. So that's probably a trade-off that I'm willing to take. So let's drop 100 more for one day. We'll have to go a little lower in price because a couple more people have undercut. We'll go 2 cents lower, place our order. I didn't look at our gold balance, but I know just from a few small orders, we made over 100 gold. And this is just gonna go back into the bank. Bring our weapons back on. I don't need all those though. We're not leveling all this stuff right now, but we'll keep it for now. A recipe to learn, grilled pork with squash. It's going to increase our focus and strength. Whoops. I want to click on that and click. Oh, we have already learned it. So we could try to sell that recipe. Otherwise, we'll just drop it. We got a few little vaults to open. These give us some coin and give us some moats. When you get over level 60, these also drop a gypsum for you. Gypsum get made into casts, which get made into weapon or armor bumps. Expertise system is a whole nother thing for later. Okay. All right, that gets our inventory again back down to about a quarter. And I think we'll call it here, you guys. I have to head into work. It's been really cool. We are going to do just some crafting sessions like this in the morning. Gathering crafting, really chill. Again, you can make it a little more, I don't want to say edgy, but just a little more interesting by flagging. It's also going to give you a buff to XP when you're below level 60. So you're going to gather XP quicker. And also, it's going to give you a little bit of boost to luck. So if you want super chill, just chop and refine. If you want a little more engaging than that, go ahead and flag while you're resource gathering. And again, think about, can I optimize my time? So in this case, I'm optimizing my time by logging. We got almost 35 levels of logging. And I know we got at least that in woodworking, probably 40. So each time we bump these up, we're going to be able to access higher level materials and craft higher level materials. So we're really going for this weird wood at 100. And then once we're done with logging, we're going to shift to mining. We want to be able to start getting lodestone and star metal as soon as possible, because those are going to be really important intermediate ores. And the smelting, whoever smelted it, delted it category is super important. If you want to be a crafter, metals feed into almost every crafting category. So smelting along with me, logging's kind of fun. I enjoy it. I love the sound of it. I just like the activity. And trees are everywhere. It's not every area is as rocky or has as much ore. So it can be sometimes a little harder to level your mining skill as quickly as your logging skill. So we start with logging just because it's easy and chill. But the most fundamental base refining skill that you want to get to 200 as soon as you can is going to be smelting. So we'll probably do that next time we go on a crafting session. Oh, we can get a title. Next thing for Rob Roy Kent when we come back on stream in the evening will be to run the Amrine expedition. So we're at a level we can do our first dungeon. So pretty fun. Hey Boats, thanks for hanging, man. Yeah, if you have any questions, whisper me in Twitch. I will be happy to answer them there. And that's what this is about. I love helping people get up to speed in the game. Don't do this for a job. Don't do this for money or fame. just helping people out. So hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. I am VannKraken. This has been Aeternum Academy, and I'll check you guys out later. Goodbye.